Yamaha Motorcycles have just released the 890cc R9 for 2025. Watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So Yamaha Motorcycles have just released this R9, this brand new Supersport R9, which is going to be sitting right at the top of the tree. Why? Well, they're doing away with the R1. That's not going to be sold anymore for the road, for Europe at least. Now, in other markets, it might continue to be sold for a little bit longer, but certainly for Europe, it's not going to be sold anymore. And this is all part of them complying with Euro 5 plus emissions controls and all that kind of stuff. This new R9 complies with it, right? However, the R1 is still going to be made as the track bike and that GYTR or whatever it's called. So that's still going to be made available. You can still buy that. However, this R9 with impressive figures, well, they're going to sell it for less than £13,000, whereas an R1, you're talking 20 plus, aren't you? Something or whatever that is. So you're going to get a super sport bike, you're going to get super sport performance, and in a package that's worked really well, especially with the MT-09s. Now you got in a super sport with a fared bike, and all of a sudden you're thinking, hello, this is a great bike. So this brand new R9 Superbike or Supersport bike from Yamaha features their CP3 three-cylinder engine, and this is coming in for 2025. And as I said, it's going to replace effectively the R1 as the #1 sports bike in the Yamaha range. Now, the engine produces like 117 brake horsepower at 10,000 RPM and just over 68 foot-pounds of torque as well. You know, these are all performance figures and all that kind of stuff. Now, whilst on the face of it, it may seem similar to the CP3 engine that you find in the MT-09, this has got slightly different timing, slightly different fuel injection, slightly different everything really. And also there's so many differences that's going to make this a standalone bike, a standalone riding experience. It's got a brand new chassis that's supposed to be the lightest ever. Overall, it's going to weigh about 195 kilos. That's wet weight. That's sitting right on the side of the road. Now for suspension, it's got KYB springs. It's got 43 millimeters of upside down forks, which are going to be adjustable for rebound and compression and all that kind of good stuff. Now the rear shock is fully adjustable, as you can imagine, and it shares its tech from the R1 race bike and the R1 GYTR that's obviously still being produced for the track as well. It's got Brembo brakes, 320 millimeter discs, and it's on Battle Axe tires, right? So it's all good stuff in terms of what this bike can produce, how light it is, how stiff, new technology into the suspension, into the chassis, into the engine. This is all good stuff from Yamaha. And as it complies with all the Euro 5 plus emissions, all the green people are going to be jumping for joy. However, was this bike ever really needed? Well, actually, I think it does. I think there's always been a call for a smaller bike, a sub 1000cc engine motorcycle that has got super sport performance, and it's going to be that much more usable on the road. Now, that's the intention. Of course, there are lots of different reasons why they're bringing out the R7, let's say this R3, and this R9. It's obviously to produce smaller bikes, smaller CC bikes that are going to meet all their emissions controls, but at the same time still give a higher level of performance. In other words, it's a better power to weight ratio. The critics would say, well, look, we've got the R1. We want the R1 to stay on the road. This is what we want. Why couldn't they have just tweaked the R1 and made it better, or done something to that engine so it can still comply with all future emissions controls? There's always a counter argument here, because R1 lovers are going to say this is one of the best bikes on the road. Why should we go to this three-cylinder CP3 engine? So there's always going to be that argument. However, the trend has been for manufacturers to produce and deliver smaller CC engines that produce better performance. So you don't need the big engine. You can have a lighter engine, a lighter motorcycle, and then you could have much better performance out of that overall package. So my question here is, will this R9 from Yamaha, will it stand above and beyond any other manufacturer who are trying to produce motorcycles that pack a punch in terms of performance, in terms of handling and rideability, but deliver a smaller engine with less weight and critically with a much lower price tag? Well, it seems if the Yamaha have done it, and then the others have to catch up a little bit here. But there's another manufacturer that may just have the answer. Now, you may have seen that Triumph have just teased a brand new 800cc or an 800 motorbike that's coming out. Now, what that will be, whether it be a super sport bike, a road racing bike, a race replica bike, whether it be an adventure bike, whatever, or it's just the engine that's going to deliver in terms of performance, it's going to deliver in terms of weight, and whether it's going to be able to fit flawlessly in different types of motorcycles. And also, let's not forget, Triumph have been making triple cylinder engines for quite a while, a lot longer than Yamaha. So they really should have the bump here. They really should be in the lead in many ways. Yamaha bought this R9. I've been asking whether Triumph would ever bring out a triple cylinder that is a proper super sport motorcycle. Yes, they got the 1200 RS and the RRs and things like that. In terms of 800, 900cc motorcycle, a super sport motorcycle, a fed race replica type motorcycle, I've been asking, well, are they going to produce one? Would they produce something that's just sub 1 litre that would really put the cat amongst the pigeons and take it to the Japanese manufacturers and say, look, you can produce the R9, but we've got this. We've got our 800, we've got our 810, 850, 890cc motorcycle as well. In fact, none of that. We're bringing you an 800cc where we see this as being the sweet spot for the new riding future. 800cc, this is where we see it. Now, this is something that Triumph might have been planning for a long, long time. The R9 for Yamaha hasn't actually been much of a secret. It's been much anticipated. And other manufacturers have got to be looking at the likes of Yamaha and say, well, look what they're producing now. Look at this motorcycle, this flagship motorcycle for on-road riding. What are we producing? So I wouldn't be surprised if you see other manufacturers now doing the same. My point here is that Triumph may already be in prime position to give Yamaha a run for their money. Now, it could be with this new 800 that's coming out from Triumph. We could be seeing a whole new range of bikes from them that are delivering super sport performance. We'll have to wait and see. I have no information on that, but it does appear that Yamaha have brought out a really good bike here, and they're matching it with price point, because the future is going to be a balance of performance and economics as well. It's going to be how many people stay with motorcycling and how much people are willing to pay for it and what technology and what performance are they going to get out of it. If you're delivering a bike under £13,000 here in Europe, $13,000, 13,000 shekels, whatever it is around the world, then all of a sudden you've got something that is going to be very, very sellable, and it's going to be in demand. If other manufacturers can produce motorcycles of a similar ilk for a similar kind of price tag, then all of a sudden you've got healthy competition there. All I can say is Yamaha have done a great job here. The overall package in terms of price and performance and overall specs, it seems if they've hit a home run here. So great stuff from Yamaha, but it'd be very interesting to see how other manufacturers respond, and especially now Triumph with this new anticipation of this 800, whatever that is. Well, let's just see exactly what that is. If you like what I do here, well, keep on watching the videos, and I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.